Do you guys see this, like, what is this, a ghost? Do you see this right here? What is this? So I have a story. It's story time. And I feel like this might trigger some people. I might get some nasty comments. I don't know, we'll see. But I can only be me. I can only be attracted to what I'm attracted to. And if nothing else, you have to laugh. You have to laugh at these situations that we get ourselves into. So I matched with this guy on Bumble. He seemed cool, you know, attractive. I was into it. I have to say the conversation was a little weird, like the dialogue. Like I would ask a question and his answers were, half the time they just seemed unrelated to what I was asking. But literally the next day after we matched, he was like, hey, do you want to hang out today? I have a pool, you can come over. And I thought, you know what? It's so rare that I talk to a guy on an app who's eager and ready to meet like soon after matching or starting a dialogue, that I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's just better in person. I appreciate that he's being proactive. Sure, we can hang out. I would love a pool day. So the next day, I finish up work. I'm like, nice, I have this pool date to look forward to. He sends me his address. I change into my bathing suit in the meantime, search the address, and I see it's like 40 minutes away via Uber. Now, maybe because it was the end of the workday, maybe it's not usually that far, but I'm like, damn, all right, I'm gonna sit in a car for 40 minutes. Okay, it's worth it, right? Like meeting new people, he seems cool, I'm attracted to him, whatever, it's fine. He texts me as I'm getting ready, like, you know, getting my towel and stuff, sunscreen, and he's like, hey, can you bring some wine and I'll prepare some food? So I'm happy to get some wine, but I'm also thinking like, it's gonna take me 40 minutes to get there. Like, maybe you could get the wine in the meantime just so I'm not like adding another 15 minutes to my trip or so. So I text him that, I'm like, hey, happy to get it, but you know, maybe you can get it, you know, since it's gonna take me 40 minutes. And he calls me, I guess to clarify, and this is literally what I hear. Hey, the thing is, like, I don't have a car here, so, you know, if you could get the wine, that'd be really great, but I will prepare some food. And I'm just stunned because the pictures in the dating app, the dating profile, did not match that kind of voice. Like, most of the time, I think from a dating profile, from how somebody presents themselves, you can get an idea of their mannerisms and how they act and stuff. I did not see this coming. From the photos, the way he presented himself, I thought he was like, not an alpha male, but like way more masculine than me, and I'm not that masculine. Now I know the masculinity thing, listen, I grew up with a masculinity complex like so many gay men. I obviously didn't want to hurt his feelings about it. I don't want to make a scene about it, but I got so turned off because I almost felt like his little sister answered the phone. Like I was so confused. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll get some wine. He's like, okay, cool, see you soon. I'm like, see you soon. Hang up, and I'm like, I just lost all interest. Like, I don't want to go for a 40-minute car ride, pay for what was a $30 Uber ride to meet some guy that I'm not even into at this point. This has only happened to me like maybe 2 times before, where I was physically attracted to a guy, but then his voice and his like feminine energy just turned me off. And some guys are, and I think some women are also into guys who are more like effeminate, right? Like everybody has their different things. Again, I'm not that masculine myself, but I can't get turned on by a guy who's less masculine than me. So I'm now kind of panicking. I'm like, I'm 1 foot out the door. I have my bathing suit on. Do I really want to do this? No, I don't. Do I really want to hurt his feelings though? No, I don't. And I've had guys cancel on me with dates a gazillion times. I've had guys send mixed signals, all of that. So I don't want to confuse him. I don't want to hurt him. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then, stroke of genius. For whatever reason, here in Miami, I've noticed that anytime I want to get an Uber ride, you know, I'll compare it with Lyft. And for whatever reason, like 90% of the time, the Lyft is so much more expensive. It's very rare that it's comparable and that the Lyft is actually cheaper. So I'm like, let me just check what Lyft says. And Lyft literally said $60, twice the amount, which is insane. I don't know why, but it said $60 for that 40-minute ride to go see him to his address. So I'm like, you know what? This is what I'll do. Took a screenshot and I sent it to him and I said, hey, you know, I just checked Lyft and it's gonna cost me 60 bucks and it's also a 40-minute ride, and you know, at this point it's already like almost 7, so realistically it's like just an hour left of you know, sunlight before sunset. Like, let's just reschedule, like let's hang out at some other time, or like maybe meet halfway another time, you know. And he was totally understanding because I have proof, I have a screenshot. Like, who's gonna pay for a $60, you know, Lyft ride to go to a pool when I could just walk to the beach? Like, it doesn't make sense. He was really understanding about it. He was like, no problem, let's hang out some other time. So I got myself out of that one. So the next day, he texts me around like noon. I was working. I was in the middle of working, and he's like, hey, do you want to come tonight instead? And I'm like, didn't we just establish this yesterday? Like, I'm not gonna go 40 minutes out of my way and pay an Uber to, you know, to see you. But I didn't respond. I was in the middle of a spreadsheet, like in the zone. I was like, I'll respond to this later. 20 or so minutes later, he calls me, and I don't answer because, again, I'm working, and I'm also just annoyed that he's calling me in the middle of a work day when I haven't answered his text. 20 minutes or so go by. Okay, now I can address this. I text him back and I'm like, hey, I'm working, like, you know, and I mentioned like, you know, I don't want to take a 40-minute Uber ride over and have it be costly and whatever. And I was probably a little passive aggressive, but I was just irritated that he wasn't getting it. Like, I politely declined. Anyway, point is, I sent that message, didn't hear back after that, and since then I haven't heard back, which is totally fine. I'm always open to friendship with somebody who's nice and well-mannered, but at the same time, if you're that far away and you're like not picking up on cues and not respecting my like work time, like, it just irked me. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, has this ever happened to you guys, that the pictures just don't match what you envision? Not even physically, just because obviously I haven't even met him, but just the person, the kind of person that you imagine in terms of like their mannerisms and how they present themselves, and let's be frank, the voice. Gay voice versus non-gay voice. It was just too much. I couldn't do it.